What's up YouTube, it's Matthew here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to go over the best data to pull from PropStream this month, June 2022. It's so important to reevaluate which list you're targeting in your wholesaling business or even real estate business in general. Let's say you're going after rentals or flipping properties. You have to understand, okay, what season are we in the real estate market? Are homeowners looking for pools? Maybe I can flip a property that has a pool. Is it the winter? Are people just looking for a nice warm place to live? Maybe I can just wholesale some land around this time so people can get ready for new constructions later down the year or during the summer months. And so understanding seasonality in your business is key in order to know which list to target, which leads to go after at different times during the year. The good thing is that on this video, I have done all the research for you. I looked at different foreclosure rates, home sales, equity information, and I packaged it all together in today's video, and I'm going to share this information with you all so you all can target these different lists. And of course, the software I use is PropStream to find my real estate leads to target, to go after. If you all are interested in PropStream, check the link down below. With my link, you get a 7 free day trial. By doing so, it just supports this channel and help me make awesome videos like this where you all get a ton of value. So make sure you check out PropStream down below in the description or in the pinned comment down below. All right, so now I'm going to share my computer, share some data with you all, and then show you in PropStream how to locate these different lists to target this month. All right, you all, so we're on this article looking at zombie properties. So zombie properties are essentially properties that are in the foreclosure process, but the property is vacant. So on top of being foreclosed, it's vacant. No one lives there, right? And this specific property, it hasn't been foreclosed on yet completely. So the title, the deed, is still in the homeowner's name. So essentially it's still in the pre-foreclosure stage of everything. So this is a very good list to target because you have that added layer. It's not only foreclosure, it's vacant property. It's not only vacant properties, it's a foreclosure. So here in this article, it was just talking about how zombie foreclosures are up 3% from first quarter to second quarter of 2022. So this is very important because we know that now more and more banks are, handing out, foreclosures to people where they didn't hand out during the pandemic and everything like that. But also, this is interesting because it seems like some banks are not, as on top of it because these zombie properties are increasing. So people are leaving these properties, even though they haven't completely finished their foreclosure rates, if that makes sense. But as a whole, of course, like zombie properties are still down compared to pre-pandemic levels, right? And so here in this article, it just talks about zombie properties. So first of all, it talks about vacancy. So right now, there's 1.3 million residential properties in the United States that sit vacant. That's 1.3%, 76 homes. So that's very interesting. So just your basic vacant properties are still out there for us to go after, and everything like that. So here, right here, it talks about among the pre-foreclosure properties, around 7,500 sit vacant. These are the zombie properties in the second quarter of 2022, meaning that the number of zombie foreclosure properties went up quarterly by 2.8%. Right, 2.8% may not sound super large, but it can, it can really impact, numbers and going after different properties. And this is just in the United States. And yeah, 7,500 properties is not a lot compared to the millions of properties that are out there. However, if you take 7,500 divided by 50 states, you have a decent amount of properties to go after in some states, like over 50 or less or more than that. Another interesting thing that I found in this article is that they were talking about how, according to our equity report, almost 90% of homeowners in foreclosures have positive equity, right? This is interesting because Now you have property owners who are probably in the pre-foreclosure stage, so you can go after them, but they may be more willing to sell to you as opposed to the bank because they can receive money because they have equity in this property, right? Does that make sense? And so another thing is that banks are not completely closing on these properties, even though there's equity for them to make money. And that's for different factors, because with foreclosures, like it kind of helps with taxes. Like if they don't completely foreclose the property, that they still hold, mortgages on a property and different things like that. Yeah, and it's just crazy. But homeowners, sellers that we're going after, they're still over 90% of the, almost 90%, not over, almost 90% of homeowners in foreclosures have positive equity. I don't know how much equity that is, but that's a sign that, hey, these people may be willing to work with us, investors, if they want to sell their house. And it's not like they're not going to get any money out of it. Most likely they will get money, some money out of that. Right here, it talks about some of the states with the most amount of zombie foreclosures. We have number one with Michigan. Michigan zombie properties are up 74% from 54 properties to 94 properties. Arizona up 56% from 32 to 50. Arizona is that, the state where, we preach a lot about wholesaling. Georgia, Nevada, and Iowa. So yeah, that's interesting. And then they said overall vacancy rates down annually in most of the nation. So I think that just talks about more about, the supply issue that we're dealing with, that a lot of properties for the most part are not vacant because people are trying to find housing. And so it's good if you own a property and you can rent it out. Most likely it will be rented out fast. And, in my last video, I talked about how I bought a rental property. So I'm finally, in this landlord stage, where I can positively, provide housing to people and everything like that. But let's go to PropStream to see how to find these properties, zombie properties. So I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. And then all I'm going to do is go to Quick List, and I'm going to go to zombie properties right here. And 28 properties show up. So that's what you get in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia has millions of houses and only 28 of them fit this criteria. And you can go after them, whether you want to do sub-2 seller financing or just do wholesale property. So that's essentially what this is, the zombie properties. And so what it is exactly is, for example, we go to pre-foreclosures and we can say, there's a notice of default, right? And then on top of that, we can say vacant. Let's see if anything shows up. 16 properties. So that's essentially what zombie properties are. They have a notice of default, which is pre-foreclosure essentially, and then they're vacant. And 16 shows up here, but on this zombie list, I think only like 20 shows up. So I don't know what extra properties they're showing on this list. But yeah, so that's how you find zombie properties. So the second list I'm going to talk about, which you should target this month, is regarding this article that I read. It says that single family rental returns are dropping as home prices spike, outpaces rent increases across the United States. So essentially in this article, they were just talking about how single family properties, like the average return is getting lower, right? It's not keeping pace with the property values. So for example, how they calculated the yields, they just looked at the annual gross rental income and they divided that by the home sales price. So if a property got $25,000 worth of income, this is before expenses, before mortgage and everything like that, and they bought it for $250,000, that property has a yield of 10%. And they're saying that percentage is lowering for single family rentals with investors. And so, it's very interesting. But they were saying that investors who own single family properties have seen their margins compress over the last year as home prices have risen faster than rental rates. But the good news is that property owners can increase, their rent and benefit from home price appreciation. So there's still appreciation there that is wonderful, and you can sell the house or you can pull out money from the house. But how does this relate to pulling lists from PropStream? So essentially, this tells me that, hey, landlords, investors, cash buyers are going after now multifamily properties, apartment buildings, more than anything. Yes, they are still buying single family properties to flip or even just to hold. But if you can go after these multifamilies, try to go to apartment buildings, maybe around a 10 unit property or 12 unit property. You just have to have the right paperwork and everything. But that's the next list you should go after, especially in today's market for this month. And so how you would do that is, number one, you go to, for example, property characteristics. You can just go to multifamily 2 to 4, multifamily 5+. They even have, you can search apartments right here. If you want to look at apartment houses, all these, you can check all these right here, y'all. I don't know if you guys want to go after high rises, apartments. And then you could do your regular if you want them to be vacant, if you want them to be within a specific price range, valuation and equity. Let's say you want minimum equity to have at least 30% equity. You want the owner, maybe you do want an individual owner, or like a mom and pop person that owns like apartment buildings and stuff like that, instead of going after an LLC. A minimum year of ownership. Let's say you want them to have at least 5 years of ownership so they can have appreciation and equity that they can sell and actually receive money from it. And so that's what I would do. I would go after these properties and target multifamilies properties. And then the next one I want to talk about are these is relating to this article about home values in opportunity zones, redevelopment areas keep pace with national gains. So they're just saying the home values in opportunity zones, these are areas of low income earners. And this was when Trump was in office, he implemented the Tax Cuts and Job Act of 2017, and it gave incentive to investors to investing in these areas, right, to redevelop them, essentially gentrification. You may have different opinions on it, but this is the truth. This is just the facts, and I'm just trying to share that with you. It is interesting, though. It is because it's like, okay, this was made for low-income people, so they can possibly afford houses there, but now prices are rising in this area, and so it's like, how will low-income people actually afford it? Like, is it now in an opportunity zone? Has it came out of that zone now that the median price is over $250,000? Like, it's just crazy. But anyways, I think it's still a good opportunity to go after houses that are vacant, especially in these areas. And then number two, go for these specific areas. So for example, in the city where I live, I know where the nice areas are, right? I know where areas where, there's ton of appreciation. There's A-class neighborhood, good school zones, but then there's some okay school zones, right? There's some lower class school zones, but those properties are still increasing too, right? And so investors are buying in those areas. And so just do your research, understand your market, and go after your normal list. So I would just go over vacant properties. So let me just clear this out right here. And I would do vacant properties. And what you can do actually, you can go look at valuation and equity information, right? And if you want to look at lower income places, you can look at the estimated value. You want the estimated value. Let's say in Atlanta, it might be kind of higher. So I'm just going to put like $250,000 and lower. All right. So they're vacant. They're $250,000 worth of value and lower. So these are probably most likely lower income areas. And yeah, you can put your ownership information, put equity as much as you want, and other things like that. And that's what I would do. That's how I would find properties in opportunity zones where the home values are increasing, where you can sell to investors, or you can build up your neighborhood for yourself. You can buy these properties yourself and keep the prices low so your community stays intact and everything like that. All right, you all, I hope you all enjoyed this video on how to find the best sellers, the best list for June 2022 on PropStream. If you all are interested in PropStream, once again, check the link down below. All right, you all, talk to you all later. Have a great day.